Yeah, I guess we are about to start. This is 9:04. We're starting by 9:05. I hope my timing is correct. Yeah, good evening, everybody. You're all welcome to this meeting tonight. This is a meeting that is organized by the CPAN Drug Information Department. We're going to have 3 speakers for today's meeting. And before we start, we would like to start with an opening prayer. Could someone give us an opening prayer? I can see Professor Aino. Professor Aino, could you give us an opening prayer, please?
Okay, thank you very much.
A pleasure, ma.
In Jesus' name.
Amen.
In the mighty name of Jesus.
Amen.
Father, we thank you for our gathering tonight. We thank you for your mercy, for making us to come together. As we're going to be discussing tonight, Father, come and share this occasion in the mighty name of Jesus.
Amen.
Let us learn something that will benefit our patients in the mighty name of Jesus.
Amen.
At the end of it all, let the glory be to your holy name, and the blessing will be our portion. For in Jesus' mighty name we pray.
Amen. So you're all welcome once again. Please, can we observe these rules, because this is going to be streamed online, and we know people from all over the world who are interested in our work will want to watch it. If you're going to be on video, please make sure you're properly dressed. Please mute your phones unless you want to talk. Please mute your phone unless you want to talk. Do we all get that? Okay, so we continue. Our speaker for today, we have 3 speakers, erudite scholars for today. We have pharmacist Folashade Olufunke Lawal, a fellow of Pharmaceutical Society of Nigeria. She has practiced community pharmacy actively for over 3 decades. She's very passionate about rational use of medicines and preventive health. She's a fellow of the Pharmaceutical Society of Nigeria, a Commonwealth Professional Fellow. She has been involved in a number of researches with publications in internal journals. She's an advisor for the Drug Information Center of the Association of Community Pharmacists of Nigeria. And she's a member of many professional groups like CPAN, WASPEN, NSCM, ISTEM, and other. Pharmacist Lawal, you're welcome to this program. Our next speaker is Dr. Rukayatu Mohammed Adamu. She's the head of the Inpatient Pharmacy Federal Medical Center at KEFI. She is the chief pharmacist at Federal Medical Center KEFI, head of the Inpatient Pharmacy Federal Medical Center KEFI. She's the secretary of CPAN Apex School of Experts. She's the secretary Pharmacy Training Committee for FMC KEFI, and she's the secretary Drug Information Group Training Committee. She's the deputy coordinator for Nasarawa State for the Drug Information Group Training Committee. You're welcome, Dr. Adamu, to this program. We also have another speaker, the third speaker. I said we're having 3 speakers. The third speaker is Dr. Olusegun Ibrahim Eniayewu, a lecturer with the Department of Pharmaceutical and Medicinal Chemistry, University of Ilorin, a researcher with relevant local, national, and international publications in his field. He's a fellow of the WAPCP under the Public Health. He's a Katara African Scientist Fellow. He's the Assistant National Secretary, Nigeria Association of Pharmacists in Academia. He's also a member of different professional groups such as CPAN, and also PSN. You are welcome to this program, Dr. Ibrahim Eniayewu. Now, the speakers will introduce us to the features and clinical contents of the following. 1, up-to-date. 2, natural medicine. This will be taken by pharmacist Folashade Lawal. And then lexicon, Genebrandex, which will be taken by Dr. Rukayatu Adamu, and other tools. And lastly, Zotero, which will be taken by Dr. Oluwasegun Ibrahim Eniayewu. So I guess we are starting with pharmacist Folashade Lawal. Hope you're ready, ma'am. So you can take over the platform now, ma'am.
Yes, I am. Thank you. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
I don't know what I didn't say. Sorry, let me stop share and go back.
Okay.
Screen sharing. Share. Okay, that's better. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, ma'am.
I'm very delighted to be part of this, and we'll just go briefly through features of 2 drug information resources that I have found personally very useful over the years. I'm trying to look out for my slideshow now. I don't know why, what's happening to my screen.
We are seeing your screen.
Slideshow. Okay, from the beginning. Okay. Can you see it now? Features of drug information resources.
It's not on slideshow.
So
okay.
I will today.
Yes, no.
And permit me to give a little brief of how I came about up to date. Some years ago, I had this patient that had liver cancer, and naturally was worried about his condition, and it became a dumping ground for all these herbal products from different places. And I was invited by him then to advise him, and it was difficult for me. So I went online to look for, so that was natural medicine. I went online to look for how to solve it, and I started gathering all this information, and I had to subscribe. So I'm starting with up-to-date. Up-to-date is a resource that we have to pay for. It's not free. And I will just run us through the basic features that it has. This is the login page. And then under contents, we have what's new, practice changing updates, live interpretation, drug information, patient education, topics by specialties, authors and editors. All of these we can click on, will take us to different areas where we want to get into. So the next interesting aspect is their drug interactions. With the drug interaction section, is quite interactive. You key in the various drugs that you are concerned about. And then when you ask it to analyze, it brings out this particular page. And as you can see from this page, it will tell you the combinations that you need to avoid, the ones that you need to consider, therapy modification, and all of them are coded, the X, the D, C, B, A, and thereabouts. So for you to get more insights, you click on those of interest. Naturally, you want to know why you should avoid the combination. So you click on it, and the next page takes us to what it says. So to tell us why we should avoid that combination. Sorry, okay. So it will tell us why we should avoid the combination. and then give us instances, give us references, so that if we need to discuss with other healthcare professionals, we are properly informed and we're able to give references and then take informed decision. As we know, all of these resources, they have their disclaimer. They're not responsible for whatever decision we make at the end of the day. So we still need to use our clinical judgments, but they give us enough information to be able to take that decision. And then another interesting part is the pathways, where we have different kinds of algorithms for different kinds of management. I picked out hypertension here because I know that is common to all of us. So if we look at this slide, it talks about initial management of hypertension, and we have the different algorithms that are carefully thought out there. So if you notice the one on blue, that's the one I clicked on. And when you click on it, it takes you through the questions. Is it yes or no? You click on yes, and then it talks about lifestyle interventions only, their management only. And then now you come to the right side and you can read more about what that box is trying to explain. And lower down, you can still, after reading through, you can review your assessment and make a plan. So this is what you will see when you click on the assessment plan. It gives a summary, and then it also explains what it wants us to consider. All patients, like it says, all patients with hypertension should pursue non-pharmacological therapy called lifestyle modification. You can click on that lifestyle interventions. It will take you through what the lifestyle interventions should be, that they have used. And then you can make your own clinical notes under there. Back to the pathway. If we go a step further, where it asks about myocardial infarction, on the right, it will open for you some questions that you can, as you provide answers to them, it's leading you into some clinical decisions and therapeutic decisions for the patients. So you can review the assessment, you make your assessment, you can review and plan. And the next page shows you the review and plan for that. One of the tools that I found very useful is the patient education aspects. And you can print out the flyers. So it has basically two types of patient information. Education information that it gives. One is basic, and the other is not basic, beyond basic. Basic means that it's simple, elementary. So sometimes when I have patients that are on new medications or new conditions, and I need to give them information about their condition, I go to look for that basic. That basic can easily go through WhatsApp. So I send it to them through WhatsApp, and they're able to get information about their condition and ask questions. It's quite simple. The language is, so we have, if you look through this slide, you will see figure 1, figure 2. Figure 3, those ones take you further into the information aspects, simplified forms, like you have this called out. It talks about, now we're looking at heart failure, and it talks about the action plan for the patient. So this makes it very easy for the patient. Every morning when you get up, check how you are doing, look out for it. It enumerates all of that. And then there is a second one that talks about symptoms, that if you notice the symptoms, the action that you are to take. And we notice that these are in colors. The green shows that there's really nothing to worry about. But when you get to yellow, you have to call your doctor, and then you can get to your doctor's office to know what is happening. But by the time you are moving down, it's becoming more alarming. So all of that helps the patient. And this gives a brief of symptoms of heart attack. Interestingly, it also has videos that you can click on to play for the patient to see and learn. And the videos also have transcripts. So this is the transcript for when to call your doctor. Now, one interesting thing about UpToDate again is that you can share UpToDate. Once you have a subscription, you can give your friends some complimentary entry for a month. Like if you look at this yellow area I circled down, it says include a complimentary entry. That's if you see a topic that you love to share with your friend, you click on share, there's a share button, it brings out this page, and then you mail the person. If you want a copy, you can ask UpToDate to give you a copy of the mail of what you are mailing, and then you can include a complimentary guest pass. And that helps the person to be able to take decision about if he or she wants to subscribe for UpToDate or not. So I will say that UpToDate is available online. It's available offline. It can be used as an app, and it's a very rich resource. I found it a great medical companion, and it's recommended for provision of excellent pharmaceutical care. In UpToDate, we also have opportunity to look at calculators for different conditions. There's so much inside UpToDate. I've tried to make it very brief because of our time. So let me rush to one of my most treasured is the natural medicines. And that's the one that I went after when this patient was bombarded with all sorts of herbals, and I really wanted to help that patient. I recall those many years ago, I can't remember the exact date of the year now, but when I went and I discovered this, to subscribe for it was about $2,000. And there was no way I could get that then. So I had to write a letter to them to plead with them. I said I just needed to go in CIDR for a patient. Then they gave me a concession, and then I paid $800 and something. But I was happy I did at the end of the day, because it was not just about that patient. There's a lot and a lot inside natural medicines. Now, this is their own interaction check. The interesting thing about it is that it takes into consideration a lot of products by their trade names. So you can see there is Advil that I called out. You can look at Advil, and then it will tell you, you compare, once you select, it goes to the and then you can look at the interaction between, like here now, I'm looking at the interaction between Advil, cannabidiol, acidophilus, ginger, Lipitor, L-arginine. It works by trade name. So once you know the trade name of the products, it even considers the different components of those products. For example, L-arginine, there are so many different types of L-arginine, and there are certain constituents that you may not even want to bother about on a normal day, but inside there, it will compare it for you. And then the breakdown is as under, that's red part that says interactions found. Then it classifies the interaction. Is it moderate? Is it severe? Is it something that you don't really need to worry about? So if you click on that view details, it will take you to more details about it. Let's look at the next page where I clicked on the details. Now for cannabidiol and Advil, it says that theoretically, cannabidiol might increase levels of drugs metabolized by CYP2C9. In vitro and animal research shows, so it gives you all those figures in brackets are references that you can click on. And if you click on it, it takes you to PubMed, all where the papers are published, and it's so rich. Then you can also print it out if you want to give it to a patient. I recall when Moringa everybody was going Moringa. A cardiologist at Luth then asked me to give her information on Moringa. And I came to UpToDate. I think I was able to call out 20-something pages of information on Moringa. And she was like, wow, this is a lot. And most of them research-based. That's what I love about natural medicines. It's research-based. It gives you as it is. There's no bias anywhere. So it's for you to now, as a professional, decide on, make your clinical decisions based on informed information now. Sorry, you say my internet is unstable. Can you still hear me?
Yes.
Hello? Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
So, like I said, natural medicines has a lot of resources, and one other useful function is to look at the effectiveness of a product, or you can look at a medical condition and then the effective rating of natural medicines or integrative therapies that have been scientifically studied for that medical condition. For example, if you want to kill cancer now, you can, it will tell you certain products, their effectiveness against certain cancers and all that. So it's quite deep, it's a lot, and I'll just take us briefly through. What did I query here? I think I looked at colorectal cancer. Yeah, that was of interest to me. And it talks about the effectiveness of calcium. If you look on the left, it says it's possibly effective. Oral calcium seems to be beneficial for preventing colorectal cancer, especially in those with adequate vitamin D levels and normal body mass index. So that means that the patient has to have a normal BMI. Then you can click on view more. It will talk in more details about this, as these statements that they have made here. And down the line, it's a whole lot, but because of time, I was able to call out just this little bit. Another interesting thing about it is that you can also call out information for your patients. And it can be in different languages. It can be in English, Spanish, or French. So effectiveness here is talking about dyspepsia. Oral calcium is approved by food drugs. Sorry, I have something blocking it here. Let me see. Okay, is approved by the US FDA as an antacid, and we know that generally many antacids contain calcium carbonate. Then it talks about hyperkalemia, hypokalemia, the role of oral calcium in all of those, in kidney failure, and then that's effective, but likely effective. That means that they don't have enough information to conclude. Then where it's not effective too, they also tell you not effective. Now, I singled out calcium. This is patient information on calcium that you can get out for your patient. You can print it like a leaflet. It tells the patient what calcium is, and then how it gives a lowdown of what the patient needs to know about calcium. Now, we also know that some products or some drugs might deplete some other products from the body, or some conditions might influence depletion of certain minerals. For example, there was a time I had many patients on clonazepam and I got interested in it. I went to natural medicines to query what nutrients in the body will clonazepam disturb, and it happened to be calcium. That it's likely that those patients on clonazepam will have deficiency of calcium. So I did a note to the prescriber, and the prescriber decided to add calcium to some of their therapies. So it makes us get more informed in tautology information. It gives you more insight into what is happening to the patient or how to help the patient. It also promotes collaborative practice, because I find this useful when I'm doing medication use review, medication therapy management, and I get all this information. I share it with whoever the prescriber is. and they are happy to know that one is intervening and helping. So if you look at some drugs here that can affect calcium levels, it says aluminum, moderate depletion. Carbamazepine can moderately deplete calcium. So it says for some patients, you may need to do supplementation. For some patients, you might not need it. And I think there's a way to find out. We can do a laboratory test to find out their calcium level. It just helps you to know what to focus on when you are managing patients on certain drugs. I think I clicked on, yeah, let me look at it now. I clicked on one of the effects of calcium, and I clicked on its effect on the cardiovascular system, because it can also talk about the adverse effects of these products. So I was looking out for adverse effects here, and what is its adverse effect on the cardiovascular system. And it says here that there has been concern that calcium intake may be associated with increased risk of CVD and CHD, including MI. Yeah, and then it goes on to give what they have found out clinically in terms of research. And like I said, all those numbers in brackets, you click on them, will take you to where the researches are, and you can click on the researches and read more about it. Then it also talks about the pharmacokinetics of the product, the absorption of calcium, and what affects it. I want to rush because of other speakers. Then this is also talking about the mechanism of action of calcium with respect to different conditions, like its antacid effect, its anti-cancer effect, its anti-diabetes effect. It was interesting to find out that here it says a meta-analysis of clinical research shows that supplementing with calcium 1,000 milligrams or more daily in conjunction with vitamin D 2,000 IU or more daily can lower fasting blood glucose and reduce insulin levels and insulin resistance measured by hemostatic model assessment of insulin. I also came across a research work by Professor Fasamadi that also showed that deficiency of vitamin D, vitamin D could help in insulin, promoting insulin uptake. Deficiency could be associated with insulin resistance, something like that. So all this come to play. There's a whole lot. Many times when I come in here, I get lost inside here, and I get lost. I just go deep before I realize time has gone. So yeah, that is how it highlights the reference. When you pick on a particular figure, like this figure now, 1, 2, 1, 2. If you look at it, I think I picked on it somewhere here. So it goes to highlight it, and then you can now view the abstract. From the abstract, you can go into more information. It will give you more similar write-ups. And this is PubMed information that says calcium and magnesium nutrition, that talks about calcium and magnesium nutrition in human hypertension. Then I talked about nutrient depletion. I was interested to find out, because I know that a lot of people talk about statins and CoQ10. So I wanted to query that, and I queried it up. And it says here, nutrient depletion issues that are found, that depletion might occur if it all might deplete stores of coenzyme Q10. So if you give you details, how much evidence they have on that. And then here it says there's insufficient evidence to rate it. And then clinical significance is not known. So you know that if you want to give your patient CoQ10, you just want to give your patient CoQ10. There's nothing very strong to prove it. And then it also has a page on pregnancy and lactation, which I also find very useful. Here, all the drugs are in alphabetical order. You can pick a particular drug and find what it does in terms of pregnancy and lactation. So I think I picked an example. Let me see. So you can click on any of them. It will take you there. Another area of interest, yeah, these adverse effects. In terms of adverse effects now, then what will cause those adverse effects? Which of the herbals can give you these adverse effects on the left side, like abdominal pain, abortion, acne? If you click on them, it will bring out a list of those products that have been implicated. Sorry, say my internet is unstable. Are you hearing me?
Yes,
So
we can hear
like
you.
here, and I clicked on abdominal pain, and it has brought out a number of products here that have been implicated in abdominal pain, like this aloe, apricot kernel, antichoke. They are listed in alphabetical order, and you can get more information from them, activated charcoal. So I think this is one of the ones I clicked on, yeah. So it took us to the adverse effects, it's acerola, yes. So it says here that acerola has been linked with one case of anaphylaxis and one case of renal obstruction, then gastrointestinal immunologic. So if you click on the gastrointestinal, it will tell you precisely what they found using acerola. And then it also, natural medicine also tells us about interactions with lab tests, interactions with other drugs and herbals, interactions with so many other things. And I decided to just pick out interaction with lab tests here. So the acerola would interact with acetaminophen finding in the lab. It will interact with aspartame, aminotransferase, bilirubin, and carbamazepine. So let's see what it says under carbamazepine. It says theoretically, acerola may cause a false increase in carbamazepine levels with some methods. So is when, if we are doing educational therapy management, for example, now, and they are getting high levels of carbamazepine, you may want to find out if that patient has been on acerola and if these methods were used or not. So it's basically this, if you pick a product like calcium, this is the profile that it gives you. You can search the scientific name, the background, the safety. It will tell you a lot about the safety in terms of how strong, moderate the arguments are. The ones that they cannot prove scientifically, it will also tell you the same thing for effectiveness, to tell you about dosing and administration under different conditions. It will talk to you extensively about adverse effects. If you click on it, it will talk about the toxicology, interaction with drugs, interaction with herbs and supplements, nutrient depletion, interaction with foods, with lab, interaction with diseases, mechanism of action, and pharmacokinetics. All of that you will get. And then you can also look at professional monograph. You can look at what you want for your patients and all of that. So I want to leave us with this quote that says, "An investment in knowledge pays the best interest," by Benjamin Franklin. And I'll conclude by saying that up-to-date and natural medicines are very rich resources for effective and efficient pharmaceutical care practice. I strongly recommend that we contact the administrators of the resources for group discount on subscriptions. Now they are a lot cheaper than those days. I know natural medicines has come down. I can't remember what it is now, but it's a lot cheaper. Even up to date, you can do monthly. Thank you and God bless you. Sorry if I took too much time. Sorry. Thank you. Yes. Hello. Am I being heard? Yes.
Pharmacist, welcome. Kindly unmute. You're muted. Yeah. Kindly unmute yourself. Okay. Kindly unmute yourself. Okay. Kindly unmute yourself. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, good. Yeah, I can unmute myself now. I've been through that. So thank you, Pharmacist Lawal, for the wonderful presentation. Now we move to the next speaker, Pharmacist Rukayatu Mohammed Adamu. She's going to take us on lexicon and Genebra.
Yeah, muted again. Yeah, muted again. Can you unmute?
Is Pharmacist Rukayatu on the line?
Yes, he is. He's
Okay, okay. You have the floor now.
Okay, thank you very much. Can you hear me?
Yes, you can.
Okay, let me start screen sharing. So, thank you very much. Good evening, everybody. Thank you for having me. So, like we all know, to provide accurate drug information for whether our patients, other providers, we actually need information that are quite reliable, up to date, and also evidence-based. So tonight, hopefully, I'll be taking us through two tertiary drug information resources. So the first one is Lexicom, actually. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, thank you. So the first one is Lexicom, which is a tertiary resource by the Dutch publishing company, Wolters Kluwer. I'm sure some of us are quite familiar with this particular logo here. So these are the publishers of Lexicom. And Lexicom is one of the best tertiary resources available actually for medication therapy management. And I'm sure by the time we're through with this presentation, you'll actually see why it's one of the best, and it's up to date and quite evidence-based. It's actually a collection of content sets and clinical tools that provide the users with robust clinical drug information. And as we can see, it has access. You can either have access to Lexicom as an online resource or offline using the mobile app or the tab. So the first one, Lexicom Online. Actually, Lexicom Online, it's quite fabulous, just that it's an online database. So it means that you always need an internet-based platform. But one thing about Lexicom Online is that it delivers a time-sensitive information, and it's usually updated frequently. It's like a constant updated resource. So, and one thing about it is that you have different subscription packages. Depending on the package that you subscribe to, you can have access to a particular database, because Lexicom gives you access to over 20 databases. So depending on whatever subscription package you've subscribed to, you can either have an access to the hospital license. So even if you're in the academics, you can have the academic license, you have the community pharmacy practice license, you have the group practice whereby you can have multi-users, you can have a password, a login password with the username, and then it can be used by several users. You can also have a Lexi Complete for individuals, whereby it gives you access to a complete database of Lexicom. So looking at the contents of Lexicom Online, it has different content sets. You can see it has the drug monographs. It has Tricell's IV compatibility, which is by Lawrence Tricell. It gives you link to pharmaceutical stabilities and compatibility of medications. It has an interaction checker. You can also identify your drugs. It has SOLOT. We're going to see it from the next screen, actually. So now this is the home screen of Lexicom Online. And you have to subscribe. And then once you log in, it brings you to the home screen. So at the home screen, we can see that there's a search button here whereby you can search either by filters, or once you just search in, once you start typing, by the time you type like 2 alphabets, it brings up options for you to choose what you want to search for. And it can take you to, we'll see it on the next slide actually. It takes you to several contents using either the Lexicom search, or you can use it, you can filter to a particular content set you want. For the blue button here, the blue button here now takes us to the different content sets that we can see. So Now, if you try the search, which is what I did, using the search button here, this is what we'll see. So if whatever we searched for, whichever drug you searched for, you are going to have, if your institution has a formulary, you can upload it to your institution package, and then it will present the formulary of your institution. You have Lexi Drugs, which is a monograph of several contents. We'll see it later on. It gives you access also to the pediatric and neonatal Lexi Drugs, whereby you get information specifically for pediatrics and neonates. The Lexi Drugs here is usually the adult monograph. You can also see the one for geriatric Lexi Drugs. Then if you really want to find out the pharmacogenomics, which is a new aspect we all know in pharmacy practice right now, you can always go through these content sets. It gives you access to comparative efficacy, just like we've just seen with the previous speaker. You can see there's also an efficacy here with Lexi Online. These are what you can see in the content set using the search box. So now, using the Lexi Drugs actually, because one of the most important thing about Lexi is, irrespective of whichever package you subscribe to, Lexi Drugs is one that you always see there. But these other content sets, just like we know with DSTV, you can have different channels depending on your subscription package. You can either have full access or limited access. So it's the same thing with Lexi. Depending on your subscription package, you either have full access or limited access. But one thing that you always definitely see there is Lexi Drugs. So now, if we use, I just picked Lexi Drugs alone so that we'll have a look at what it feels like. So with Lexi Drugs, these are the other content set, like I said, that you'll see when you use the search box. So using that Lexi Drugs, I searched for metformin actually, and this is what you will see. You can see metformin, this particular aspect. If you want to go straight to either just the dosing information or administration or adverse drug reaction, by clicking at this particular link, it takes you directly. But if you want to go straight to the monograph of metformin, let's say, for example, you want to find out everything about metformin, not just dosing or administration, by the time you just click on metformin here, it takes you to the monograph. So now for the monograph, you can see that at this particular left side, there's a listing of all the contents that you see under the monograph. So this is just the outline. If you want it in alphabetical order, then you click on alphabetical. It will arrange the content sets here in alphabetical order for you to now search through. But then at the monograph here, this is just an expanded view of what you can see here. For these images here, if you want to find out what are the images of the available products of metformin, by clicking here, it displays it for you. The adult patient education and pediatric patient education now gives you, just like we've seen with the previous presentation, you can actually download or print patient education like handouts or leaflets to either give your patients or for you to just read if you want to read offline, for instance. So once you just search here, depending on how you want to do it. Now for going through just the Lexi Drugs, this is everything you will see with Lexi Drugs. The alert, which is just the expanded view of what we have here, is what I have here on this particular slide. So if you want to find out what's the US boxed warning, like for metformin, we just use lactic acidosis, you'll see there, how do you pronounce it? What are the brand names? What's the category, the dose, the use? All these particular contents, I'm not going to go through each one because of time. So you see it using the Lexi Drugs monograph. Then for the 3 cells IV compatibility, that's using the blue ribbon here, the content sets here. That's if we don't want to go through the search box, you can go through this particular content sets up here. So for the 3 cells IV compatibility, one good thing about it is that you can either search for compatibility for a single particular drug, or if you want, you can now add up more than a single drug. Let's say if you want just a single drug IV compatibility, once you enter the drug name here, what you see here is going to be view compatibility, not analyze. The analyze comes up when you want to search as a compatibility chart. Let's say you add more than a drug, maybe 2 drugs. Then if you like, optionally, you can also put in any parenteral nutrition or IV solution. Let's say, for example, ceftriaxone. I want to find out what's the compatibility in dextrose, water, or normal saline. Once you just do that and you analyze, it brings out a chart for you. Now, this is, I entered ceftriaxone. So what we can see, because I just searched for just single compatibility, not for comparison. So for ceftriaxone, what we can see here we can see that it brings out the result for you in such a way that you have the key. What is it incompatible with? For anyone that there's uncertainty, you have it here with the U, you have the C. So like for ceftriaxone, which we can see here, we can see that it's incompatible with total parenteral nutrition admixture. And then there's uncertainty with Lingard's lactate, but then it's compatible. So this means that if I want to give ceftriaxone as an infusion, for instance, you can use any of this one, is actually compatible. Then this one is for white side compatibility. If you want to check if there's any compatibility issues and all those, all know we can have a syringe compatibility when we talk about pharmacokinetic interactions and all that. So now, looking at the interaction now, we can actually have the key here. This is where we now add on the drug. What I searched here was for any interaction between clopidogrel and omeprazole. So by the time I added the two drugs, and then of course, if you have one good thing about the interaction on Lexi, it can check if there's any interaction, even if it's with allergy, or if it's with a disease condition and all that. So once you search, if there's any allergy, you add up. I didn't enter anything, so that's why there's no interaction identified. But with clopidogrel and omeprazole, we can now see it's an X, it's to avoid combination. So once you click on this link, it brings down an expanded window for you to read up on what's the interaction like and what are you supposed to do. So now for drug ID, let's say, for example, we have missing pill, we have pills that we can't really identify what particular drug is it. You can just put in by using the imprint side with the dosage form and then the color and also the shape of that particular drug. What I searched here, I just did a P with a 500 in a tablet form, and then the shape is round. And this is just a few. If I were to scroll down, we'll now see more. But then it now brought up, these are just some few that you can see: acetaminophen, metformin, because it's a white tablet, round. So it just brought out with the images, whereby I can now actually compare with my tablets to see if it's what I have or not. Then for patient education, it's actually depending on what you want to do. Is it for a particular condition? Do you want to educate your patient on a particular condition? Let's say, for example, hypertension. Once you just enter a condition, you search, it brings out. Is it for a particular procedure? Maybe let's say your patient is going in for a procedure and he wants more information on that. You can also do the same. Is it for discharge instructions, natural products, healthy living, or is it just for any medication? And then one good thing about it is that you have different languages. But unfortunately, of course, Nigerian languages are not part of it except for English. But for other international languages, you have it there: Spanish, Chinese, Arabic, and all that. So we can choose which language you want the information to be on. Then if you want to print, you can see, you can print the leaflets, you can preview. So if just for added medication or pediatrics, you can do the same. Now, this is just an example. I searched for artemether lumefantrine. And of course, if I had wanted, I would have just printed and then let the patient have an idea of its medication. Now, the next one is the calculators. Up to date, Lexicom has over 100 calculators actually. And you can either browse by the category if you are not really sure of which calculator you want, just want to have a feel of what it is, or you can be specific. So what I did here was I searched for this for EGFR calculator by Cockcroft and Gault, just the creatinine clearance, and you can see it gives you an information. This is the equation, just for you to have an idea of what the equation of the calculation is all about, and then you can input your data. And then once you click on calculate, it gives you the value. So now another interesting aspect of Lexi is that with the more clinical tools, we can see up to date here, which is just the presentation we just had. So with Lexi, if you have access to Lexicom, you can also have indirect access to UpToDate. And all we've seen with UpToDate, you can also access it through here by coming through more clinical tools. You can either have comparison if you want to compare drugs. This is a formulary management service. This one is for material safety database. Or if you want to have information on any toxicological information on your drugs, you can come here. So looking at, let's say, a formulary monograph service, if you want to have a review of the Pharmacy and Therapeutics Committee formulary review, it lists it out for you. And then you can, of course, choose whatever you want to choose. Then for the other clinical links, like I said, using the more clinical tools is quite interesting actually. So aside this, you can have other links. If we check here, we can see we have the ASHP drug strategies. You have a link, straight link, direct link to National Library of Medicine. Then the Orange Book, which we all know is a book of FDA, a publication of drugs with therapeutic therapeutic alternatives. So we can also have link to FDA recalls if you want to find out which particular drug is being recalled recently and all that. You can use Lexi and it gives you that. So the other aspect of Lexicom, because you have either an online package or you can have the mobile package. The mobile package actually can be offline. Once you download the database, you have it offline on your phone and it's compatible with Android, with Apple. So whichever phone you have, you can also have access to Lexicom Mobile. And one thing about Lexi Mobile is that it provides a point of care access, because sometimes you might be in an area whereby the internet is actually poor, or you might just be by the patient's bedside and you need immediate information on something. So Lexi Mobile gives you that. This is a home screen of what Lexi Mobile looks like. And also, depending on what subscription you have, your library here could differ. But then there's one thing, your interaction checker, you can always have it there. The traces is also there. The calculator is there. So for the interaction, it helps you just like we've seen with Lexi Online. So I'm not going to dwell more again with Lexi Mobile because it's similar. So but with your interaction checker, you can check any interaction. You can also identify your drugs, just like we've seen with Lexi Online. You can have several calculators, whichever one you want. But now for Lexi Drugs, now that's this particular library. For the library, these packages could differ depending on your subscription package. But like I always said, the Lexi Drugs is one that you always find it there. Another interesting thing I always find about Lexi Mobile is this 5 minutes clinical consult. It gives you information on a particular disease state, the overview, the diagnosis, the treatment. So if you want to find out a particular information, and let's say asthma, for instance, using the 5 minute clinical consult, it gives you an overview of what asthma is like, how do you diagnose it, how do you treat it, what was the first line, what was the second line therapy, and all that. So now the second resource I'm going to talk about briefly is the GymBrandex. Now GymBrandex is one that I came across it when I was trying to access Lexi, and like we all know, Lexi, you need subscription. So when I didn't have the subscription for that and I wanted to access it, and I came across GymBrandex. And one thing about GymBrandex is that it's free actually. It's an Android phone app, and it's free, and the developer made it to be quite similar to Lexi. So you get content from Lexicom and also Martindale. So it's like you're having a free version of Lexi without subscription. So now with GymBrandex, you can always download it from your Play Store. So with GymBrandex, this is your home screen. So this particular first aspect, just the drug index, actually this is just more beneficial for those in Egypt because it's an Egyptian app. So this particular aspect just brings out the brand, the prices, and it's usually just in Egyptian currency. So it might not really be of value to us. But if you want to just find out a brand name for a particular drug, well, you can use that aspect. Then this particular medical library, it's where I find it most interesting because it gives you that particular information that you see with Lexi. And here it's free of charge without subscription. But the only thing you have to do is that you have to download first the monograph. So to download all this particular content, you can always use your library here. Once you click here, it takes you now to the download page whereby you can just download. And it's actually fast depending on your internet service. You can just download this particular content sets. So now for the contents, the monograph that we saw on the home screen is just like Lexi Drugs adult monograph. It contains all those particular content sets we saw with Lexi. And then, but this is, it's for the adults monograph. We have the ones for the pediatrics. And one thing about this is that it's already arranged in alphabetical order. It has slight additions, like I said. It also contains information from Martindale. Then for the chemotherapy, this particular icon, once you click on it on your home screen, it takes you now to a portal whereby you see the chemotherapy regimen by protocols. Let's say, for example, you want to find out a particular chemo protocol, let's say FAC protocol, or let's say CHOP protocol or HAM protocol, whatever protocol is you want to check for any oncological condition. Once you click here, it takes you to the monograph section. But using the malignancy icon here takes you now to chemotherapy used by a particular disease condition. Let's say, for example, breast cancer. So if you want to find out the different chemotherapy options you have for breast cancer, now this is the option you need. But this one, if you want to find out, okay, let's say, for example, a combination of doxorubicin, let's say with cyclophosphamide, what can I use it for? Then you use this particular one. Then for the pharmacological class, this gives you a listing of drugs by the pharmacological class. Let's say, for example, I want to find out which drugs are the berberinides or which drugs are the DPP-4I. Once I click here, it gives me the listing of all the drugs in that particular pharmacological class. Then this clinical consult, it's quite similar to that 5-minute clinical consult we saw with Lexi. So once you have this, it also gives you similar information like you have with 5-minute clinical consult with Lexi drugs. Then for the treatment algorithm, this is one part I also find interesting because it gives you now algorithm of these conditions now, like just give you the treatment algorithms. We'll see just a screenshot later on. Then for the calculator, it's similar to what we saw with Lexi. You have access to several clinical calculators. So this is just a screenshot of what we have. This for the monograph. Now this is for the chemo by protocol. So now this chemo by regimen, just screenshots of what they look like. This for the pharmacological class. Now this is the consult, the clinical consult. You can see if you want to find out on measles, on acne, whatever it is, AKI, if you scroll down, it takes you there. Now this is an algorithm screenshot for what it looks like. So just to conclude, actually, both Lexi and GenBrandX are quite useful tools for provision of medication therapy management. And if you have money for Lexi, it's one that you can't avoid to miss. But then if you don't have the money for now, I think I always recommend you can always go with GenBrandX for now because it's free and it also provides you a bit of information that you can always get with Lexi. So
thank you very much. Thank you very much for the wonderful presentation.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much. So we now go to our last speaker, Dr. Enyaye Wu, to talk to us on Zotero.
Yeah, good evening, everyone. Can you hear me?
Sir. Yes, sir. Very clear. Yeah.
I'm deeply honored to be invited to make this presentation. And I will start sharing my screen. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can, sir.
Yeah. So as drug information specialists, there will always be need to gather evidence-based information about drugs. And of course, this will require referencing the sources of our information. So this evening, I'll be talking to you about referencing drug information using Zotero software. Actually, there are quite a number of softwares that we can use to reference our information. And some of these referencing softwares are free, while some we have to pay for. But for Zotero, I'm trying to move my slide. Okay, so Zotero is an open access software, is user-friendly, and is also a free software online. And there are quite a lot of things that we can do with Zotero. We can actually save our resources from library catalog, research databases, and also information from the web. We can use Zotero to insert, to make citation in text, and we can also use Zotero to generate our list of references at the end of our write-up. And also we can also share our library with our team. So then for this presentation, it will be more of an hands-on thing. And I will briefly take us through how to get Zotero installed on our computer and how to create a library, site references in text in our Microsoft documents, and also put us through how we can switch between different referencing styles. I'll also take us through how to generate our list of references, and also briefly show us how to share our library with our team. So to download Zotero, so is my screen stay up, the Google Workspace?
Yes.
Okay, so you just to get Zotero downloaded on your computer, you just go to www.zotero.org. I've already downloaded it on my system, so just show us. So once you go to that site, this particular page will pop up, and you simply click on download. So once you do that, basically you have this page, and all you need to do is just to download Zotero and also download the plugin alongside with it. And once you do that, once you complete the installation process, you see it's appearing, getting plugged in on your Chrome browser, which is what you can see here. And also it's automatically gets plugged in into your Microsoft's documents. But because I've already done this, that's why you can see it on my computer. So you get it automatically plugged in into your Microsoft Office. So after that, I will show us this is the Zotero workspace. So once you get it downloaded and you open it, you see this workspace popping up, and there are a lot of things you can do on this page. For every new library, you need to create, for every new research that you want to use Zotero for, you need to create a library. And to do that, you just need to go to File and New Collection. So once you click on New Collection, you give your library a name of your choice. So for this presentation, I had already created for Drug Information Group. So, and within every folder, you can also create subfolder. All you need to do is just to right click and click in a subfolder. So you can actually give your subfolder a name of your choice. So once you do that, it automatically appear below your main folder. And of course, having done that, you can also import references, articles, or your reference sources into this Zotero workspace. So for this, you can actually do this by various means. You can get a collection of your resources from an online database and get them imported into Zotero. You can also import a single article or source inside Zotero. So to do that, all you need to do is just to visit whichever database you are interested in, where you know you can get as much information as possible about your drug of interest. So for this, I will just go to, I'll use PubMed as an example. Assuming I'm interested in COVID-19 vaccination researches. So once I click on search, it gives as many information as available online. I can actually store all of this information into my Zotero. So once, what you need to do is just to check the articles or the resources that is of interest to you. And once you do that, I'll just check like 3 or 4. you come to your plugin, your Zotero plugin on Google Chrome. And once you click on that, it pops a workspace pop-up where you can actually click, select as many articles that you want to import into your Zotero library. So once you click OK, it will ask you which of the folders you want to save your information. So to select, you can just click on the drop down button, and for me, I have a lot of folders, but for the purpose of this presentation, you can just select any of the ones that you've created. Let's say drug information group that we just created. So once you do that, you just need to click on done. Just save. Once you click on done, automatically all those articles will appear in your workspace. So that is how to bring a collection of articles into Zotero. To bring a single article, all you need to do is just go to your browser and check for any article of your choice. So let's see. Okay, let me search for one article as an example. Yeah, so I'll try and import this. This is an article, this is a single article. So all you need to do, once it's a single article, you see your Zotero icon turning to a white is it square? Yeah. So you just click on it, and once you click on it, you equally save like we did for the first one I described, and also save into your library. So with that, we can save as many resources as possible in our library. Having done that, the next thing is now to create an in-text references. For instance, while we are writing our job, putting together our job information, we will make some statements that we need to cite in text. So what we'll do is I will use this as an example. This is just a short information about iptacoxenide, and which I would like to reference. So all I will need to do is just since I already have Zotero plugged into my Microsoft Workspace, all I need to do is just to click on the Zotero and go to add or edit citation. So once I do that, another workspace will pop up where I can actually select my referencing style. You know, we have different kind of referencing style. We have the APA, we have the Vancouver, we have Harvard, and the likes. So in this workspace, I can actually select my referencing style that I'm interested in. And if for any reason, my referencing style of choice is not available among the ones listed here, all I need to do is just to go to manage style. Just click on manage style and click on get additional style. So what this will do for us is to go online and check for other referencing style online. Not sure. I think the internet, and you need an internet to actually do that. I'm not sure if. So okay. So what I will try to do now is just to try and insert one or two references for us to see how we can go about it. So I'll just click on add edit references. So for the purpose of this presentation, I will select Vancouver as my referencing preferred referencing style, and I'll click OK. So once I do that, you can see the Zotero a box popping up, and there are two things I can do here. I can actually view it the way it is, and I can as well view the bigger view, which is the classic view. So if I click on that, it brings me to my Zotero workspace, even while I'm still working on the Microsoft Word document. So here I can select any of the references that suit the statements I've made in my documents. So for instance, if I'm interested in this reference, all I need to do is just to click it and click OK. So automatically it cites the reference, it inserts the reference within my Microsoft Word document. And of course, if I need to cite multiple references, I can still go back and select, I can still go back to my classic view and select other references. So, so here I can add additional reference. Actually, if I have some keywords for the article I'm interested in, I can just type the keywords. Let's say UDP, and it brings up all the references that keyword, and I just click on the one I'm interested in. So, this is Vancouver style of referencing. So what I need to do is now to show us how to generate our list of references. So to do that, all I need to do is to click on add or edit bibliography. So once you click on that, it brings up all the references that I've inserted in text. And you can see that the references are already added. And if for any reason I feel I'm no longer interested in the Vancouver style of referencing and I want to change to another type of referencing style, all I need to do is just to go to document preferences and just pick another type of style that I'm interested in. Let's say APA. Let's look at the APA. Okay, yeah, just click on APA and that automatically change the outlook of my write-up. So because of our time,
yes, sir.
So because of our time, I'll also, that's how to switch between references. Then I'll also show us how to actually share our references with our team. So to do that, we need to create an account with Zotero, which is also free. And to do that, all we need to do is just go to edit on our workspace, click on preferences, go to sync, and here because I already created an, that's why it's showing this for fresh user, it brings up a box where you can enter your email address and insert some information to create your account. So to now create a group, all you need to do is to just click on this icon here, new library. So once you click that, you can actually create a group. And to do this, you have to come online to do that. This is actually the most important because by creating a group, you can actually share your library and your resources with your team members. So to do that, you have to log in. I already logged in. So all you need to do is to name your group. Let's say drug information group. Then you can also actually do some settings as regards to whether you want your group to be a public group or private, and so many things you can do. So for this, I think the group is already existing. So let me just put drug information. Then you can create your group. So you have to be online to do this. So once you create your group, then you can also create some settings about whether you want it to be a private group. What are the information described? You can describe your group. You can also go to member setting and invite members to your group. So here to do that, all you need to do is just to come to send, invite members to your group, send more invitation. So once you click that, you can actually enter the details of the person you want to invite to be a member of that group by just entering their email. And you send. Once you do that, the person will get an email notification that he or she has been invited to be a member of the group, and automatically will become a member of that group. So, and once you do that, once you create a group, you can actually see that on the left-hand side of your Zotero workspace. For this, you can see that I have a number of groups here. So you can see the drug information group is also there. And within that group, you can actually put a lot of documents, a lot of write-ups that can be shared, that can be seen by those that have permission to do that. So like I said, there are a lot of things you can do with Zotero, and I know that 15 minutes is definitely not enough to do all of this.
Exactly.
So maybe during the question and answer session, you can ask some questions about that. One thing you can also do is that you can put your documents. Maybe you have a team in the hospital and you are trying to develop a drug monograph, and you have a write-up that you are working on that is still work in progress. You can actually put them on this workspace, and anybody that have access to it can actually edit, and automatically the other members of the group can also see the changes that you've made on your documents. So Zotero is actually a user-friendly software, and it's something that we can actually use in our various place of work. Thank you.
That's good. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much for the wonderful presentation. Yeah, so we now go to comments. Please, can you raise your hands if you have any comments or questions and answer? Very brief, please, because our time is fast spent. Anybody? Did I conclude that the presentation has been well understood by us all? Okay, can I have the remarks by Professor Bello, Ibrahim Bello? Remarks by Professor Ibrahim Bello. Can you unmute? Okay.
Yes, sir. Yeah. I want to start by thanking God Almighty for giving us this opportunity to gather here and be impacted with a lot of very useful knowledge. We give thanks to God Almighty. We equally thank our speakers. We really appreciate your efforts and we're grateful. We have added to our knowledge bank. We sincerely thank you and appreciate you. And for all the participants, for your time, we thank you. I believe we have all gained one or two things today, tonight. One thing I want to say again is that for pharmacy practice, we have over 180 different tools, both for drug information, for pharmacy education, and other clinical tools. So what we are saying this night is that we know among us other people that are familiar with some of these tools. We are calling on you to get in touch with us so that you can come on board again to share your expertise on this tool with us. That's my information I want to pass. And equally, if you have any questions, our speakers will drop their contact, their phone numbers on the chat box for you to get in touch with them after this meeting. Sincerely, I'm so happy with all this very impactful and insightful lecture tonight. Thank you. That's my contribution in brief.
Thank you, Prof. Thank you so much, Prof. We especially, I forgot, we have an American trained pharmacist in our midst. She's in Nigeria for vacation at the moment. That's Dr. Goze. You're welcome. I just sent her the Zoom meeting link and she joined us just to listen to us. Yeah, you're welcome, Dr. Goze. Are you online to just say hello? You're welcome. You're welcome. She's Nigerian.
Hello, everyone. Nice to be here.
Okay,
thank you.
It's nice having you.
Yeah, she's a Nigerian trade in the US. She's the community
pharmacist. You're welcome. Yes, it's nice having you with us. We usually organize among us Dr. Inwizu. Yeah, welcome and organize. Thank you.
Yeah. So we have the vote of thanks now by Dr. Ojo.
Okay. Yeah.
Dr. Ojo, are you online?
Yes,
Oh my.
good evening.
Yeah, good evening, ma'am. Dr. Ojo. Oh, probably she has a network issue.
No, she's online. She's online. She's responding.
Okay.
Yeah. She's online. Yeah.
Okay, can you unmute her?
Okay, she can unmute herself. Yeah. She's free to unmute. Yeah.
Okay, Dr. Ojo, unmute yourself, please.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's
You might have
been some time listening to the erudite speaker. Can you hear me?
Yes, we
Yes,
can hear
ma'am.
you.
Yes, we can.
Okay, Dr. Omolola Wokoma, what am I to talk about?
It's just a vote of
Closing
thanks.
prayers, did you say?
Vote of thanks. Vote of thanks. Ma'am.
Okay. Vote of thanks. Okay, thank you so much to our wonderful presenters, being with pharmacist Folashade Lawal, Dr. Eniaye, Dr. Rukayat Adamu. It was a wonderful time listening to the three of you read out the various resources meant to value to our pharmacists. We appreciate you so much, and we are blessed to be on this forum to be able to garner out of insight and wisdom from use of these resources. The three of you, I became more confident that pharmacists is to work with. So we want to say thank you so much. And we also want to appreciate everyone that has been on the call with us tonight, leaving our busy schedules and going late into the night into such a discussion. Thank you so much. And we look forward to seeing you again. And we look to making a difference in your areas of practices. Thank you so much for the team that put this together. We appreciate you, Pharmacist Lola Wokoma, Professor Bello behind the scene, making sure that the I's are dotted and the T's. Bless you all. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Ma. So can we have the closing prayer by Pharmacist Bichi, Sani Bichi? Are you online? Oh, seems your network is misbehaving. Wow. We're not hearing you, sir. Oh, wow. So sorry, we can't hear you. Okay, can somebody else just take the closing prayer then? His network is not helping. Wow.
Okay, we say Amen. We say Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Amen. Subhana rabbika rabbil izzati amma yasifun. Amen. Yeah.
Amen. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody.